Hello, I'm Hammock. I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm here to talk about my artwork and the evolution of it when I began abstraction about 20 years ago to where I'm at now conceptually and process-wise. So I started abstraction about 20 years ago. I would go outside and paint what I would see under the surface of small bodies of water, like say lakes and ponds or even puddles. And that's how I would get my inspiration how to begin to abstract from nature. So after working some time outside, I thought, well, why not take samples of the bodies of water that I'm working from and place them in containers like vases and such in my studio space, and that allowed me to improvise and abstract even further. I guess you can say that that moment in time when I was in graduate school, that was kind of the starting point in terms of how to abstract from nature, the methods that I was investigating that I carry to this day, and the fundamental thoughts that I had from that point to the present. So here's a painting I did about 10 years ago, and I began to really think in terms of simplifying forms and spaces and really think about color and space. And from there on, I started to elaborate into more complex abstractions. So this painting is from a body work I did about 8 years ago called Splintered Worlds, and about small organisms and small parts of things creating a larger whole, kind of like based on loosely on Gestalt theory, that led me to the work that I'm doing currently. 6 years ago, I started thinking about metaphysics and the intertwining of forms and spaces. And this painting, Hollow Sun, is about the transition of elements in the passage of time. And this is from my circadian series, as I call it. This is my studio space, and I work out of my house. So even though I find sometimes it to be a little small and confining, it allows me to work all hours of the night and day. And I don't just do painting, but I also like to do drawing and digital media, and I have all this stuff, all my equipment in this one little space. I like to travel a lot, and last summer my husband and I went up to the Northwest, and one of the places that inspired me the most was the Muir Woods. The space between the trees and just the deep greens and the lack of light just added the mystery and just was totally enchanting. Like my interest with the space and the Muir Woods, the Louisiana swamps have its own sense of that kind of mysterious space, along with its variegated greens, that has no doubt been a source of inspiration for some of my past works and of course the ones that I'm doing to this day. Over the years, I began to delve deeper and deeper into abstraction, getting away from improvising from nature. Now I work directly from my imagination, sometimes with no idea how I will begin. When I work with non-objective imagery, it challenges me. It's like writing a story, putting the setting and plot together as I go along, arbitrarily exploring how it will end, or like swimming in an ocean at night, not quite knowing where it will lead me to. So this is a painting I refer to as Pool of 85, and this is a painting about some of my childhood memories of visiting my relatives in Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm originally from, and we would go to the local pool, and the neon colors of the mid-'80s and kind of the wavy shapes express those fond childhood memories. So this painting I call Pulse, and this is a painting from a body of work that I did back in 2016 when I visited Arizona. I was in an artist residency, and I really loved the colors of the desert and the luminosity that I saw, and I was trying to express that with this piece. I like to stare at the grounds a lot, the surfaces when I'm walking around. I hike a lot in Louisiana, and I'm always looking at all the little critters that you see. And so this particular piece I call Grounds, and it's really about that idea of really how the surface moves if you look at it long enough. Lately, I'm beginning to use color symbolically, like gateways into the different eras of time and culture, essence and emotions that I connect with them, along with familiar textures and snippets of landscapes with these myriad light compositions. This painting I call The Surprise. Abstract Expressionism has been a major influential factor in many of my pieces in the past. Artists such as Cy Twombly, Richard Diebenkorn, and Richard Serra come to mind in particular as other artists that have influenced my work over the years. Some of my works have been initiated by my writings, both prose and poetry. I write a lot about the evolution of my thoughts behind my works, reflecting on former ones and how those thoughts will aid in my visual journeys. Here's a poem that I titled Porcelain Bounce that I wrote several years ago. This painting, Muted Turf, will be included in About Women exhibition with Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum, and I'm really honored to have this piece in that show. And it's in a nutshell about mutation, adaptation, and evolution. Aside from being an artist, I also work for the Gifted and Talented program here in Baton Rouge as a talented visual arts instructor. I've taught a variety of things over the past 21 years actually, both at universities and in the program, and much enjoyed my teaching career alongside my artistic one. Thank you for watching.